Hello, everybody. I keep talking about going live and then life keeps doing what it does. So I found a small pocket this morning. I know it's kind of early, but I just wanted to get this out here. I will post the replay, so it'll be here and all the things. But I haven't been live in a while. I'm super excited. I've actually planned 3 lives. I'm going to be doing them on Zoom, one a month, one this Friday, one next month, one the month after. So this is going to be kind of like a little preview of what I'm going to be talking about in these free live Zoom calls over the next 3 months. All right. So I'm super excited about it. So it's good to see y'all. For those of you that pop on, like I said, I'm sorry I didn't come up with a time. I'm just kind of literally flying by the seat of my pants right now. So I'd love to hear where you guys are at in your CRNA journey, how you guys are doing, all the things. So yeah, let me know. And like I said, today is going to be just a really kind of quick mixed bag kind of thing. And what I'm going to kind of focus on is why getting into CRNA school is not going to fix the burnout you may feel in your life as an ICU nurse or anything like that, okay? Because for those of you who are struggling in some kind of way, like you are tired of the ICU, you are tired of being rejected, you want to get into CRNA school, those of you who are in CRNA school and you were like, oh my God, what did I just get myself into? If you are feeling fraud-like, or you feeling impostery-like, I want to let you know that none of those feelings are actually unique to you. Of course, you have your own unique circumstances, you have your own life, you have your own unique things that are going on, but how you feel about them is not unique to you. And I actually have a podcast coming out really soon. I'm super excited about. It is all about the 5 things that all SRNAs experience that first semester going into CRNA school. Because what I've been doing in my coaching program this week is really, this month is really normalizing how we feel about things. Because your struggles, your feelings, your thoughts, a lot of those are not unique to you. They are completely normal. And I don't think we talk about that enough in the age of social media snapshots and highlight reels and all the things. So we're going to do a lot of normalizing and kind of getting ourselves out of this constant survival achievement mode so we can actually enjoy the journey. So that's what we're all about here, because a CRNA school acceptance is not going to change your life in the way you think it's going to change your life. Because I know a lot of you are like, okay, well, I get into school, it's going to improve my self-worth. My confidence is going to be better. Everything's going to be better, right? And I'm sure you felt the same when you got that coveted ICU job, right? You were like, oh my God, I got the dream job. And then you were hit with challenges, and then you got humiliated, and then maybe things happened, right? And you were like, WTF, right? Then you finally get a hold of what you're doing as a nurse, and then you're feeling good about it and you're rocking it. And then you start your CRNA school journey, and then you get into CRNA school and you think that that is the answer to all your problems and struggles. And it's just not. All right. From getting the dream job in the ICU to getting a CRNA interview to getting into school, it's all rainbows and butterflies. And because essentially, what you are doing when you are putting yourself out there or doing, going for big achievements and big things is you're actually putting yourself out there to be scrutinized. You're putting yourself out there to be rejected. You're putting yourself out there to fail. And you realize that as you go throughout your nursing jobs, throughout a CRNA school, throughout applications, you have to learn things that you didn't even think that you had to learn. It becomes extremely uncomfortable, and you have to make sacrifices and leave things behind. And we're constantly met with this feeling of what if it doesn't work out? But what if it does work out? And you're kind of in this constant pull, no matter where you're kind of at in your journey. And the problem is that we think that getting into CRNA school worth and value, that acceptance of CRNA school worth and value, is the same as our own personal worth and value. And we think that achievement is going to fix our confidence issues and our self-worth issues. But what it does is it actually highlights those things and it puts them into question. It doesn't fix them. Is that making sense, guys? Because when things start not working out on the way to our goals, right? Or we get super overwhelmed, or we're super uncomfortable being a novice, then what we do is we go to try to fix it. Like, I don't like to feel like this. I don't like to feel dumb. I don't like this. So we go on this hunt to feel better and to fix it. I call it like we start looking for like the shiny squirrels. Okay, if I could just find the perfect study methods, I'll be okay. If I can have the perfect answer to the interview questions, then I'll be fine. If I can have the best grades, if I study for 16 hours a day, no matter if it kills me, right? Like, then I got to do it, because we live and we die on productivity and how it looks on the outside, right? I was just talking to my coaching program about, like, we want the Instagrammable moment, but doing that, right? And before we know it, we are burned the F out and we have lost ourselves. And then we start going on the question of, like, am I smart enough? Should I even be here? Is this really for me? Oh, thanks, Tenny. It's good to see you. Right? So all of this wanting to feel better, chasing achievements, it actually becomes kind of a form of disconnection to yourself. And I like to think about it. Someone else was just talking about that, is like, it's on the way to our dreams, on the way to our achievement, it's almost like these tiny paper cuts, like little tiny cut. I didn't get into school. Little tiny cut. I didn't get an interview. Another tiny cut. I didn't do well in the interview. I didn't get in after the interview. Or I had to take a leave of absence from school. Or I got a bad critique. Somebody doesn't like me. I failed a test. I got like a low B on a test. I didn't get the C score I needed, right? Or looking around and you're like, it feels like everybody else understands and gets it and I don't. What's wrong with me? And it's like little cut, little cut, little cut, little cut. And these tiny little cuts turn into a hemorrhage. And the excitement that we feel for getting that achievement turns into depression and hopelessness of, I can't do this. This isn't fun anymore. And you're all of a sudden in this sea of prolonged missed expectations and too many failures. And you think it's a reflection on you as a human. And we take the on the way disappointments, the on the way to our dreams rejections. We take all of those things, those micro cuts, and we turn them and we make them about us. I'm a failure. I'm a mess. I'm not capable. I don't belong. Right? I think Janet said it's like you have to develop a thick skin to failure and rejection. Yeah, absolutely. And we're gonna, don't worry, this is kind of doom and gloom, but I'm gonna go somewhere good with this. Don't worry. Because the thing is, and mind you guys, this was like me in my 20s, and I had to catch myself a lot of times, right? We are so desperate to be productive and to be liked and to succeed. So all those little cuts I talked about, we take all of the thoughts and all the emotions and everything that we don't like because it doesn't feel good, and we shove it down. Because we literally think the fastest way to get to success, the fastest way to get out of not feeling good, is beating yourself up and comparing yourself to others. And I call it like a low worth cycle. Like we get in this like shame cycle. And shame is extremely unproductive. But we can't stop. We got to beat ourselves up. We have all this shame, but we can't stop because we have too much to do. And we actually believe that our lives will fall apart if we stop doing stuff. So it's like, suck it up, get better. They're doing it. I got to figure this out. Like, it's like we beat ourselves up. All the while, you're like literally bleeding internally because you never tended to any of the micro cuts. You never acknowledged yourself. You never looked at yourself because we don't think it's productive for us to stop and address our hurt and address our humanity. So we hemorrhage, we burn out, we spin, we pick up our broken bodies, we suck it up, and we go out for more, right? Because we want that Instagrammable moment. We want that achievement thing, right? So what we need to do, and what I am kind of shifting the conversation into this fall, and what these lives are going to actually be talking about in this fall, is we need to have more conversations. We need to have more communities where we normalize the struggle it is to shine, right? The struggle to shine. And normalize actually what it is to be emotionally intelligent, which, you guys, this is emotional intelligence. Being aware of your feelings, allowing your emotions and feelings, allowing them, being aware of them, not stuffing them down, not beating yourself up, but actually allowing yourself to be a human, and then choosing how you want to respond and show up in the world and respond to the things that suck. But without the missing piece of acknowledging and seeing ourselves and allowing ourselves to be human, right? Which is why I coach, why I mentor, right? I do the same, I get the same for myself, because without that missing piece of humanity, right? No matter what you accomplish, no matter how far you get in life, you are constantly going to end up feeling diminished and wondering what is wrong with me when things don't go well. When in fact, nothing is wrong with you, right? So this is the cycle, the doom and gloom I just talked about. This is that cycle that I've lived and I've seen people do it. And I've seen so many people kind of live and burn out on this cycle on their CRNA journey. And I just don't want that for you. I want you to stop pursuing accolades to find peace. I want you to stop hanging your worthiness on other people's actions and thoughts. And I want to help you learn to enjoy your life, no matter the season, no matter the transition you are in, or at the very least, at least feel empowered along the way, right? I want you to stop searching for the Holy Grail, which I looked that up. I was like, what actually is a Holy Grail? Because I say it all the time. Because I'm like, guys, the Holy Grail, you think it's great to be on the mountaintop, but then there's going to be like something else, right? And so it said a Holy Grail is an object or a goal that is sought after for its great significance. But what you are looking for, like you're looking for this thing of significance, but you are already significant. Like you're already worthy. You're already good enough, right? The journey to CRNA requires a lot of risk taking, and you're going to have to ride the wave of a lot of risks, which include, but are not limited to, looking dumb, being told no, being told not yet, having to step back, having hard conversations. That's just the reality of deciding to go for something big, decide to go for your dream, right? And this is the thing, y'all. You can rush through the journey like a bat out of hell, looking for something that you already have within you, or you can start to stretch your capacity and your tolerance to the hard stuff. You can start to build your own self-belief. You can start to treat yourself with compassion every time you go out there, get exposed, take a risk, do something. And that's kind of like my coaching program, right? You guys go out there, you do the hard things, you get beat up a bit, but then you come back and you have a place and you have a community to land on where you can connect back to yourself in the process. I call it the power take back, right? Because our brains are always going to want to focus on the pain, and we want pain to go away as fast as possible. That's why you have all these tiny micro cuts and you're trying to cover them up with achievement and like doing more and being productive, right? Because nobody wants to be rejected. Nobody wants to be humiliated. Nobody wants to feel like they're drowning and they can't handle something. Like nobody wants that, but there is a purpose. There is a lesson behind the pain. Are you willing to find it? Right? Because you're so focused on the mini micro cuts and you're choosing to not acknowledge them. You're choosing to not treat them. And that's why we get so burnt out to our core. Right? Because when you push the pain away, when you push all those things away that comes with the pain, the struggle that comes with going for big things. And if you're constantly going on to the next, I gotta be better, gotta be the best. That's just not how your body works. That's not how being a human works. We've got to learn to meet our needs as a human while we go through hard things. Because the hard stuff is never gonna go away. Like new levels, new devils, right? Look at the comments really quick here, guys. You guys doing okay? You guys all right? Matthew said, I try and remember I wasn't rejected from school, but my application was rejected. Ooh, I love that. Yes, my application was rejected. I am not a failure. I wasn't rejected. I love that. That's a good one. Janet said, I had a friend wear a duck necklace through CRNA school. I asked her what it meant, and she said it reminded her to be a duck and let the criticisms run off her back like water on feathers. Love that. I love that, right? So you deserve to be seen by yourself. We talk about this all the time in my coaching program. Seeing yourself, validating yourself, moving instead of moving like a crazy person that's like, I don't want to feel pain. I just want to achieve. I got to get this. I gotta blah, 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 blah. Like move with acceptance and compassion for yourself rather than disdain for what you're not and what is not. Like, I want to just kind of ask you and like throw it out there. Like, where do you feel trapped and what emotion kind of feels trapped in you? And like when we are angry and when we are frustrated and dare I even say a little jealous, right? What's behind that? That's what we don't want to look at, right? How are your kind of stuffed emotions showing up in your life? Because that's where you're holding yourself back and you probably don't even realize it. What decisions are you not making? What are you not doing? Those are some of the questions I want you to think about. Not why did I fail? Why did I suck? Why is that? Like elevate the questions and the curiosity you have for yourself, right? Because you have to not only see and acknowledge your wounds along the way, but you have to find the value from them because we're not going to escape pain in the human experience, right? But we can still find some piece of value from them. And if you don't acknowledge yourself, you're going to continually distract yourself to death with spending money, your kids, other people, achievement, to not feel your wounds, to not really see yourself and not give yourself what you need. Because at the end of the day, emotions are never going to kill you, but burnout and stress will. All right, guys, let me read it. You guys doing okay? I feel like I'm like getting y'all. But that's good, right? We have 3 months, 3 whole months. We're going to unpack all this stuff. It's going to be great. It says, I applied for a couple CRNA programs and I want to get in, but at the same time, I am freaking out of how things will go if I get in. Yes. And that is exactly what my next podcast, if I can just have a minute to record it. Hopefully I can record it today or in this week. But yes, my next podcast is going to address all of that because we don't, like I said, we are normalizing struggle and pain. That's all we're doing for the rest of fall. We are normalizing the human experience instead of like hemorrhaging to death and not like seeing ourselves, right? Imposter syndrome and anxiety is so real through the process. It is. And that's why I'm here. It is. Yes, 100%. Right? Oh, what's up, girl? I'm so glad you popped on. All right. So the things I just said, again, I'm going to go through a couple DMs and have a little discussion here. But that is literally, I just wanted to give you guys a little snippet, a little taste of what we're going to be talking about in those lives. And I believe it's still in my stories. I'll post it again. You'll get the sign up. There's going to be one Friday, one next month, one in November. It's going to all be talking about this, how to really thrive, right? And we're going to be talking about all this stuff. It's going to be powerful and it's going to be amazing and I'm super excited. All right. So I have a few DMs that I think are really good at addressing what I talked about here and to really round things out. And again, to normalize the human experience on the CRNA journey, not the snapshots of like, I got the acceptance, here's my NBCRNA, right? We just see snapshots of the journey. No one's talking about the pain of it. So that's why we're going to normalize this. All right. Oh, you're welcome, William. Thank you. Yes, yes, yes. I am here for it. I'll see you later. Okay. So a couple DMs and then have a little discussion and then we'll get off here. So the other day I posted a few scenarios about like, do you do an LMA or an ET tube for shoulders? And I received this message and it says, basically when you're an SRNA, you just have to do what you're told. I've been yelled at for pushing pressors on shoulder scopes, not getting the pressure low enough. And then she goes, it's fun otherwise, LOL, right? And so when she wrote me this message, it literally reminded me and brought me back to when I was in CRNA school and I hated doing shoulders. I hated them. I despised them. And it kind of carried over when I became a CRNA, right? Like every time I had to do a shoulder because of my experience with them in CRNA school, I had so much anxiety and I just didn't want to do it. Like if I could get out of doing a shoulder, I would like totally freaking do it, right? Because I remember I was in CRNA school and I remember you got to like position the EKG leads, not on the shoulder side. And so I remember like a tech was like taking my EKG leads off and throwing them at me and like laughing at me. And then you got to worry about like, perfusing the brain. You don't want to get the pressure too high because then the surgeon's going to scream at you, but then you want it too low because your patient's going to stroke out, right? Like I just remember being like, and then the neck, you don't want the neck like this, right? I just remember shoulders. Oh my God, like the highest source of anxiety for me in CRNA school, right? But over time, I have gotten used to them. It's fine. I don't mind doing them anymore. It is what it is. But I had to keep putting myself in uncomfortable positions and doing shoulders to change my perspective on them. right? And just accept the fact that I'm going to have to do them unless I just go full plastic surgery or something, which I'm not ready to do, right? But I had to kind of change my approach and my perspective on doing shoulders because I had such a bad experience with them in CRNA school, right? And so I just kind of say that I get so many messages of like, I don't like doing this, or I want to get better at this, or how do I do that? And my answer is, you got to keep doing it. You have to keep putting yourself in uncomfortable situations. But the key is, how are you going to take care of yourself? How are you going to see and validate yourself at the end of the day? That's always the key. I'm always going to keep having you. Yes, you have to go out there. You have to learn. You have to shift your perspective. You have to go into the uncomfortable rooms and do those things. But the trick is how are you going to take care of yourself while you're doing those hard things, right? And so I also say that as I've gotten more comfortable with doing shoulders, because like I said, I hated them, right? It still doesn't mean that things do not happen to me as a CRNA, right? Because we have to kind of get this out of our brain that we just arrived. Like we just have this arrival place, like, oh, I'm a CRNA, I've been in practice for 7 years, all my anesthetics are perfect. That's not true, right? But I have gotten better with not being perfect. I have gotten better with not being liked, and I've gotten better with allowing myself to be seen as a human that makes mistakes, because you're never going to get away from those things. Yes, it is a different vibe when you were in school, and it's a way better vibe when you get out, but you are still going to make mistakes. Things are still going to happen as a CRNA. You're never going to get away from that. So what do you want to decide to believe about yourself and your capabilities? What do you want to believe that you are capable of? Right? Like, I really don't mind doing shoulders anymore, because whatever happens isn't a knock on my worth, my value as a human or as a CRNA provider. Whatever happens in that shoulder room has nothing to do with my worth and my value. And I know that now, and I believe that. And nobody can ever take away my effort. Like, nobody can ever take that away from me. Nobody can ever take that away from you. And when I started approaching things like that, everything changed, right? And let's just be clear, I'm going to post something. Maybe I'll do it today. Because again, we have to normalize the struggle a little bit, guys. We have to normalize our humanity. This is like the whole point of all this thing. Because like, let's be clear, the other month, I got the phrenic nerve on my interscalene block so well that my patient literally had to be admitted to the hospital, right? Horrible. I was like distraught over it. Even though it's kind of a known complication, I was literally like so upset. Oh my God, I felt so terrible. And I called a few of my CRNA friends, and he was like, oh, you know, that happened to me like another month ago, right? I felt terrible, but it happens because I'm never going to be perfect, right? I'm just not. It's just never going to happen, right? And they literally called the surgeon to get orders to admit this patient because I got the phrenic nerve, and their diaphragm was just not, it was not helping them breathe at all. And the surgeon literally said, well, that was a damn good block. Great job. And then just like kept it moving, right? And by 10 o'clock that night, patient was completely fine, right? So of course I felt terrible, and I had to make room to feel terrible and take care of myself, but it doesn't change the truth that I still am a good CRNA. Like, I still am worth something, even though I had a complication. And if anything, now I'm just a bit more placement with my needle placement and my volume, right? But things happen. And that is why, even with your patients, always have, do good education and good expectations for them up front when you're in your pre-op thing, right? We have to normalize the risk of adverse effects, right? And then literally, y'all, like 2 weeks ago, I did a bunch of shoulders with LMAs, right? I think I posted on that the other day about shoulders, ET tubes, and LMAs the other day, but I started doing them with LMAs. And she was hypertensive the whole time, like 180s, 160s. I could not get her pressure down with anything. I finally gave a little hydralazine, which, by the way, I do not like hydralazine. Hydralazine always burned me in school, so I usually tend to stay away from hydralazine and use labetalol. But I gave a little bit of hydralazine, right? And I gave less is more, but I think I gave like 5 total. And then patient was literally hypotensive in PACU, right? And needed ephedrine. So I say that to be like, things happen, right? But it doesn't change the truth that I believe I'm still a good CRNA. I care about my patients, and I still have worth, right? And I'm also not using hydralazine again. I hate that drug. I'm going to take a time out, right? So I want to normalize imperfection for you also as a CRNA, right? Because again, there's no just perfect arrival time. Okay? All right, I'm going to do this one last DM. I'm going to talk about this and then I'll get you guys out of here. So I received this message from someone who interacts a lot with my content, like answers the stories and stuff like that. And they always give great answers, right? And so I kind of praise them. I said, that's great thinking. I love that, whatever. And immediately the person says, well, we will see when I start clinical. I'm afraid I won't be good, but I know it takes time. So I asked them, I said, why are you afraid that it'll take time? Why are you so afraid that you won't be good? And they responded with some circumstances. Well, my program's front loaded. I barely get to go to the hospital. And when I do go, it's like, I don't get to do much. And what I want to say is that person, all of us, we do this. I'm just picking on this person. We're just looking at it all wrong. We're looking at our circumstances from lack and insufficiency, right? Instead of acknowledging, like this person, literally the knowledge is clicking because they're answering all my questions right and they're thinking and I see that. But instead of acknowledging themselves for, oh my God, I got the answer right. I do know some things. We're immediately like, nope, not enough. I don't know enough. I'm not going to be good. It's just, nope, it's just not enough. And then we go to the circumstances. Well, it's front loaded. Like, I'm not going to know what I'm doing. I haven't spent enough time in the hospital. Like, I don't even get to do anything, right? Versus, hey, I'm retaining some knowledge. I'm able to answer some questions. It's actually perfect. It's front loaded because now I have all this knowledge and then I get to start applying it and start putting the pieces together and then go back and start reviewing it with clinical. And even like looking at well, I don't get to do much in the hospital. No. It's great. You're in the OR. You're seeing things. Observation is an extremely powerful tool if you allow it to be and if you see it to be that. But I just wanted to highlight that because we immediately go to what's not enough. We immediately go to lack. We immediately go to insufficiency all the time, right? Instead of what do I know? What do I have? What is the value that is already here and how can I use it? So I just want y'all to kind of notice when you go right into lack, instead of contemplating over, what do I know? What have I seen? What can I get from this observation experience? How will this shadow time be helpful? Right? Because some people don't even get to visit the OR at all. They just get thrown in their first clinical day and that's when it is, right? So I just want to point that out. And I'm starting to I just want to coach your brains a little bit that work on noticing when you go right to lack and not enough and start to think about how can I adjust my perspective and how can I hone and craft my approach to one of empowerment versus just blowing in the wind from your circumstances. Well, it's front loaded. Well, it's this. So it's just, I'm not going to know enough, right? How can you become empowered with what you do have and what you do know? Okay. All right, I'm going to leave you guys with this. I want you to think about when is the last time you have checked on yourself? When is the last time you have checked in with yourself? When is the last time, what are you doing to care for yourself right now? Because whenever I ask this question in my DMs, no one has an answer. It literally they're just like, what? Huh? What are you talking about? I care for myself. Are you serious? I got 50 things to do. I don't have time to care for Amanda. Like, are you crazy? I don't have time for that. Like I just told you, Amanda, I'm tired. I'm burned out. I have a million things to do. And you have the audacity to ask what I'm doing for myself. Like literally every time I ask that question, it's like crickets, right? Because again, we think if we stop, we lose. We think if we stop, we're going to feel the pain. We think if we stop, they're going to figure out that we're like a fraud and we shouldn't be here, right? If we stop, then they were right about me. If I stop, I'll fail. And I can't fail because then I'll look stupid. And then what will I do? And everything's going to be over, right? We are so scared to find out what's behind the wounds of disappointment. And we don't believe that we have the resources or the capacity to cope with that pain. So we just keep running. We just keep trying to achieve, right? Productivity is not always the answer, nor the standard that we should hold ourselves up against. Do you care about yourself? Can that be a standard? I literally sent out, I think, an email 2 weeks ago on literally, you guys remember Maslow's hierarchy of needs, right? Like grade school or something, right? That triangle of human needs, right? I read this article and it said, when our emotional needs, love, security, validation, when those things are not met, it can manifest as anxiety, depression, and emotional stability. Properly addressing love, security, validation, properly addressing those needs that we have as human beings allows us to function at optimal levels, achieve our goals, and cultivate healthy relationships. That is what we are missing, because we want our achievements, like I said, to bring us peace. We want other people to tell us we are amazing so we can feel better about ourselves, but we are never loving, being compassionate, or validating ourselves. That's what we have got to do. Because nowhere in that article was it like, okay, run yourself to the ground, mow over your feelings, smash your self-esteem at all costs, especially your health. Nobody cares. Just get shit done. It did not say that. That's us. That's us saying that. And if you think about it, I don't think I've ever read that anywhere. I don't think I've ever really read that, right? I think our culture, we've just created this in our heads, right? We take care of humanity, right? We take care of the human spirit. We exude kindness, empathy, and compassion to strangers every single day. People trust their lives in our hands during surgeries, while they're intubated, while they have no voice. Yet we don't give a F about ourselves. We do not take care of ourselves. We do not lean into our own humanity or hold empathy for ourselves. We aren't compassionate to ourselves. We are drill sergeants to ourselves, and it is taking a toll on us. And I'm here to say you do not have to live like that anymore, right? Because this is what we are doing September, October, and November. And if y'all show up to the lives, I'm going to deliver, because I want you guys to start delivering on yourselves. I want you to become the leaders you so desperately want to be, the leader you don't even know you can be yet, right? I want to help you create a smoother, more human ride to CRNA versus like a ride of death that you guys are like, oh my God, this is terrible, right? All right. So I'm excited. Get signed up for the live so we can unpack more of this and talk about this and all the things. Yeah. So anybody questions? How are we feeling? Did anything resonate with you? Any takeaways, anything at all? I'll stay on for a few minutes, and then I have my own coaching call in a little bit. Make sure, I think I got all the comments earlier. And thank you guys. I mean, I'm sorry I couldn't put a time or really, do all the things, because life is crazy for me right now. How do we sign up for the lives? Let me see if it expired, but I'll put it back in my stories today. Yes, think you could send out an email with live reminders. Absolutely. I'm going to send, I believe, the day before and the day of. I have reminders sent to go out. So the first live is going to be this Friday. Obviously, I'm going to say with a caveat, I've got something happening in my life right now. So if that does not go well, I will change the date to something else. But as of right now, because I'm leaning on hope, as of right now, the first live will be Friday at, I believe, noon or something like that. And you will be sent the replay if you can't make it. Yeah. So I'll put it back in the stories for you guys to sign up for. But I'm excited. And I think the other one is October 21st or something like that. I scheduled those. Anything else you guys got? I'll pop off. I got to put some air on in this room. It's hot. And I will get that podcast episode out super quick. I'll get it super quick. And if anyone needs to talk to me, DMs, my email, everything is on social. I hope I wasn't too doom and gloom today. Okay. Anything else? Okay, well, thank you guys for your time. As always, I'm going to go post a couple things in stories right now, and I'm excited. I'm really excited for the fall and I really think it's going to really help change your guys' approach to the journey, and I'm super excited. So, all right. All right, you guys, have an awesome rest of your day. Thanks for hanging out with me, and I will talk to y'all soon.